Hey there, I'm Ginny.
And I'm Monica.
And this is Hitting Her Mark,
Podcast for women in the arts, actors, filmmakers, artists who are passionately chasing their creative dreams.
while juggling the beautiful chaos of caring for the ones you love.
We're here to share stories, insights, and inspiration, proving that you can hit your mark without compromising what matters most.
So if you're ready to make your creative dreams a reality, let's dive in.
Kimberly-Sue Murray is a graduate of the Canadian Film Centre and is best known for her recurring roles in the hit TV show Shadowhunters and the vampire drama V-Wars, both on Netflix, and The Boys on Amazon. Her stellar performance in XYZ Films' Traitor, a single-room, single-actor psychological thriller, earned her an award for Best Lead Performance in a Feature Film and an ACTRA Award nomination. Her most recent theatrical release, Die Alone, starring Carrie-Anne Moss and Frank Grillo, hit Paramount Plus and Crave last fall. Murray also starred in series such as The Madness on Netflix, Titans on HBO Max, and Transplant on NBC, to name a few. Upcoming projects include a leading role in indie feature Foreign Tongue, a recurring in the Netflix series Finding Her Edge, and a supporting role in Love is the Monster. Murray's performance as Gamora in 2021's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy video game also received rave reviews, winning Best Ensemble Cast Performance at the GANG Awards. Murray is a prolific creator, writing and starring in the award-winning short films She Came Knocking, Pearl, and Werewoman, a viral web series pilot that garnered over 1 million views worldwide. Kimberly-Sue Murray is represented by Amanda Rosenthal Talent Agency, Magnolia Entertainment, and Innovative Artists for Voice. Please welcome Kimberly-Sue Murray. Hello, Kimberly-Sue Murray. Welcome to Hitting Her Mark. We're so happy to have you here. For anyone listening, I've known Kim for a few years now, initially through a great self-tape masterclass called Level Up that she runs with actor and coach Michaela Lily Davies. I've done coaching with you. I've attended plenty of your workshops. And I'm just so thrilled to have you here. And for our listeners, this is the second time Kim has been here. We had some technical difficulties, but she's so gracious. But she's so gracious and lovely. She's come back to join us. Okay.
I just like to talk.
Perfect. So do we. Okay. Tim.
Yes.
I just wanted to add, and I didn't mention this the last time, is that we had an interaction because I was trying to book coaching with you. This was a few years back, and you were referred to me by Merthen Step.
Love
Yes.
Merthen.
But that didn't work out. But then you referred me to Morgan David Jones. And I just love this community that we have.
Yeah, we just keep, because we're working actors, right? So whenever one of us is not available, we just keep, I've had to tell Michaela because she's so busy. She keeps sending me her people. I'm like, Michaela, I'm tapping out. I can't keep up.
Okay, on that note, let's just kick things off. So we kick off every episode, basically starting from the beginning, talking about how you got into your artistic career. So I know you grew up in Quebec. Do you want to get into where acting began for you?
Yeah, well, it's going to sound really cheesy, but I feel like acting chose me because I was so young. I think I was born a performer. But around 8 or 9, I have this vivid memory of my cousin telling me that, the people that we see on TV are performers, they're actors, and they go to school to become actors, and they're pretending. They're being paid to play pretend. And that was the day where I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, obviously, I have this need for self-expression and storytelling. And for me also, coming from a small town, Eastern Quebec, the tip of Quebec, Eastern tip of Quebec, I've always needed to get out. I needed escapism, and acting was my way out. So I was 8 or 9. I can't remember exactly what age, but after that, I was just chasing the very few opportunities available at that time and in such a small town. So I remember when I was a teenager, my mom drove me 8 hours to go to an open casting call in Quebec City. It's like an 8-hour drive. I was sick. I made myself sick. I was so stressed out that my sister and my mom lined up for me at 5 a.m. while I was still up in the hotel room puking my face off. Yeah. And then when I was done, I lined up and then did the audition, and then we drove back. So it was like a lot of that, like driving for hours on end to go to like a workshop or like a summer camp where they do theater because there was nothing in the town that I grew up in.
I love that. I mean, the support from your family because that's so important, but also just like that sheer innocent, like I know what I'm gonna do.
I was such a dreamer, determined. I had my mom call CAA, like the biggest agency. I think I was 11. And, at the time, like we had like a family desktop that we would use, like with discs, like old.
Oh yes, those floppy with the big hole in the middle.
Yeah, and I remember, like, going on, like, Yahoo and searching, like, how to become an actor, and I wanted to be a Hollywood actress. Like, I didn't even know where Hollywood was. I probably thought it was a country, and CAA came up as, like, the big agency, and I had my French Canadian mom with her broken English call CAA, like, cold call CAA and be like, "My daughter wants to be an actor," and they were very sweet, and they were like, maybe she needs someone a bit more local, and she could take some classes and get a headshot and, like, go to auditions and stuff like that.
That's so great that they gave you tips, right? Like, because I mean, they could have been
Yeah.
or just hung up.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, like, the receptionist whose heart melted when my mom was like, "My 11-year-old." Like, because what do you s I mean, for me, I get a lot of, actually, a lot of people from back home, parents who reach out to me being like, "We saw you on" whatever Canadian show that I've guest starred on. And they're like, my daughter or my son really want to go into the arts, and could you talk to them? And I'm always more than happy to mentor. I really believe in mentorship and to just make myself available to the younger generation, especially if they're from, small towns with fewer opportunities.
That's the thing with like people, parents don't necessarily, especially if they're not exposed to a theater world or where do you even begin, right? And your kid's showing interest and you want to foster that. It's like, how do you even know where to start?
Also, my mom a few years back admitted to me that she thought it was a phase I was gonna eventually grow out of, and I never did. I never did. Yeah, maybe I'm still am I gonna grow out of it? Nope, nope, still in it.
I mean, I feel at this point, if we were going to outgrow it, and I feel like so many of us convince ourselves that, okay, you know what? I'm a grown up now, or I've got a family, or I've got whatever. I'm gonna get a real job, and it's good, and I'm gonna like it, and then like something just always pulls you back.
Oh yeah, I've had years where, I'm like looking for other things to do because a lot, I being on set is my happy place. I love being creative. I love collaborating and I also love coaching, but the in between jobs, I find it so hard. And I was struggling there for a bit. I just didn't know. Yeah. And I was actively looking for something else. And I went back to school. I'm like, I did a semester of like evening classes at Ryerson, I think, in photography. Because I've always loved photography as a hobby. And I'm like, perhaps I can pursue that as a career. And then I quickly realized that I don't like being told what to do. Funny because I'm an actor. I love being directed in a like a school setting. I'm like, you're going to school in the arts, and here's a teacher who's like telling me what to do. Anyway, I was very combative.
Hold your hand like that.
It was just so weird. And I'm like, no, no, I didn't last. I didn't. I was like, I want to do my own thing. Because that's the beautiful thing about acting and storytelling. It's like you can just kind of do you and audition for things that you're interested in and tell the stories that are appealing to you. But yeah, school wasn't for me.
So at what point did you sort of realize that you could pursue this as a career? And like, where did that journey begin for you? Was that at theater school, like at Dawson's
Yep.
or?
I did so I left home at 17, which is a thing you do. Everyone does. You have to leave. You have to leave the Gaspé Bay to go to school. So I went to Montreal at Dawson College. I did a 3-year program, which is where I met Michaela. Her and I were like just kindred spirit. We really connected, and man, like we both wanted more, like just more out of acting and even our acting classes, because we had 2 acting classes in theater school. And we both were like, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be. And we both read Larry Moss's The Intent to Live, which was, I mean, at the time it still is like such a freaking fantastic book, but also it kind of opened us up to a different approach to the work. And so her and I would go to our acting classes, do this thing. And then when we would put on plays at school, we would say like, let's Larry Moss this shit. And so her and I would spend hours and hours. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Larry Moss, but it's a lot of like backstory and a lot of emotional preparation. So Michaela, without even knowing her and I were already like creating the foundation of Level Up. And it's only, 2 years into the pandemic that we decided to join our coaching businesses and create Level Up and then create the Art Map method, which is our own approach to self-tape audition.
Right. Can you tell us for our audience members who aren't familiar with Level Up, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. And I won't go too deep because I really feel like it's Michaela and I's baby. And I want to be, once we launch our website and our book, like I want to be able to promote it with her. But basically, it's a self-tape masterclass that has grown into a 6-week genre course and a boot camp. So basically, we have a 6-step approach to self-taping. We really value and lean into being efficient, working efficiently. So six things that you do in order to stand out, in order to to level up. And people are really responding well to it, and we're getting great feedback. People are booking, which is super exciting. But our purpose, our aim is to empower and inspire actors to sort of like take the power back. Because oftentimes you do auditions and it's like you give, and you get very little back and you feel drained and empty. So we want to make it fun again. And the audition process can be fulfilling. And it's like it's like going to the gym, right? The first time you go to the gym, it hurts. The next day you suffer. You're like, "Ugh." But then if you make it a habit and a practice, then you get stronger and you get better. And we think of auditioning the same way. Auditioning is the job, so you might as well like it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Just to pick up on that too is the efficiency piece, like having gone to these workshops. One thing, and I hope I'm okay to share this little part of it, but one thing that I thought was so cool was even having us do almost like a cold read audition. And it's crazy when you're watching other actors working and you realize how much you can do even with so little time, right? You can still create a really compelling audition. You can really create fit, and some of the tools that you give helps you be efficient and get right to it. Like I always feel like, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. But then, sometimes you just need to work smarter.
Yeah. Well, especially if you have kids, or another job or just life stuff. Like when I first started acting, I would cancel on friends, like cancel plans all the time. I would cancel like big life events, like going to like a friend's wedding or a family trip or like,
Yeah.
it can be so consuming to be an actor because these auditions, like they used to come in at like late at night on weekends, do the next morning. It's like you would have to just stop living. And I got to a point where it's like I don't want to compromise anymore because I'm missing out. Like I'm sacrificing so much. And to do auditions, to be considered, you want to play, you want to be in the game, right? So you need to audition, but then if you don't get the job or you also like canceled your trip, you just feel like
Yeah.
ripped off, to be honest.
Yes.
So
Dejected.
it's about work-life balance. It's about working quickly, efficiently, being smart about it, and then also trusting that your artist will show up for you. So we're taking the focus off of being off book. You don't need to know your lines inside out. You need to know you need to make choices. And then the lines is like, you learn the lines
They'll come
by
when you understand.
if you understand what's happening and by making those choices. And it's amazing how little because we give you guys in class like 15 minutes to go through the art map, make choices, come back in, and then put yourself on, and then we put you on tape. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see the work, like
And oddly enough,
creative and free.
yeah, and oddly enough, like, yeah, you're sweating because you're like, I have 15 minutes I don't know if I can do this. But then it's like, it's so much fun. It's like a challenge, right? And you're having,
Yeah.
and you don't have time to overthink. You just need to go. And so sometimes you're even more creative because of that, because you're just like, let's go, let's have some fun. Cause that's all I got right now. I don't have like all the lines down. So we're going
And
to
you
play.
get to prove to yourself that you can show up
Hmm.
and that you don't need all that prep time and that you're sharp. Like it's a muscle, and it's so good to give the gift of confidence. Yeah, it's my favorite thing to be able to give back that way. It really does fill my tank. And also like it builds resilience, and these skills will come in handy. Like you will book a job and then, you know, go to a table read without having read the script. Or you'll go to an audition, an in-person audition or a callback, and then the director will want to see you for a different role, and they'll hand you the pages and they'll be like, take 5 and come back. Like these things do happen. So if you've never been in a situation of having to cold read under pressure, like don't wait till you're put in a situation where you actually have a role to lose. Like you can practice that. It happens all the time. They're doing rewrites, or you get the sides the night before, or you're on set and someone's sick. That happened to me recently. I was on set with a friend of mine who's the lead of this show, and his co-star got sick. And so they had to last minute change all the scenes for the next day. And then he was like, I went from being in 2 scenes and having 4 lines to being in all of the scenes and I have all of these things. And I was like, yeah, but he's going to do it. He's going to show up. But when you're working that muscle, then it's like, it's a non-issue. You know, you're going to show up. You know, your artist will show up for you.
You trust yourself.
You trust. You trust.
Just so on that note, since you coach so many actors on auditioning and on creating great self tapes, how did you develop your coaching style? Like, how did I know you and Michaela talked about you know, even when you were younger, you would get acting books and you guys would kind of coach each other. Let's Larry Moss this shit, but yeah, what's important to you as a coach, and what have you learned from coaches and mentors along the way on what
Yeah.
kind of coach you want to be?
Well, for me, I really resisted being a coach for a long time. It was actually my partner who, because I was doing tapes, but I kind of felt like a videographer. You know, I had my setup. I knew about, because I love photography. I knew about lighting and the camera and all that stuff. But and I did coach, but I never would have called myself a coach. And he was like, "You're really good at this. I think you need to, one, start charging accordingly. Promote yourself as a coach, because you are doing it. You're just," but it took years for me to like finally accept that that's what I was doing. I really believe in nurture. I had some pretty abusive theater school teachers, one in particular that took years, a decade to get his little voice out of my head. So I believe in nurture. I believe that every actor needs a different kind of support. So my job as a coach is to, well, for one, um I never do prep for coaching. Like I'll get the breakdown, I'll read the breakdown, I'll go over the sides once, but I never make any, I don't want to go in into a coaching without any sort of preconceptions or ideas of what because that's when Kim is an actor, when my ideas start going, I don't want to impose my ideas. I want to see what the actor brings to the role, and from what they're offering, build on that. So I often now I read, the first time I read the scene is with the actor in the coaching. So that's like my safeguard to make sure that I'm not imposing what I would do as an actor to the scene. Do you guys know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like a lot of nurture. It's a lot of, Michaela and I really believe in rewiring the brain. It's so easy to like look at ourselves back and be like, I hate my hair. I hate the way I look. I don't sound good. Or like, what the hell? Like, ugh, and just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And we don't believe in that. We just like focus on what works. What do you like? And then from there, what do you want to add? Right? How are we going to tweak? Maybe it's just like, actually, that's not reading as well as I thought. So it's very, very supportive, very nurturing. Actors, when they're doing auditions or on set, very, very vulnerable. You have to wear your heart on the outside. It's very vulnerable. So I think as a coach, I need to acknowledge that and make space for that without being a therapist. You need to create a space that, you know, that actor had a full day, a full week before they came in and did a coaching with you. And you kind of have to honor that that's where they're at. And then you can you can work from there. There's no point pretending like the layers of pretending, you don't have to pretend you're having a good day, or you don't have to pretend that you're happy in order to do good work. You can just start. Let's land. Where are we? And let's build from there.
Yeah. Really, but yeah, that recognizing them as a human being.
Yeah, because we are human beings pretending to be other human beings. Yeah. And I believe in using, start home and then build out. But that's also, you know, a preference. I'm sure there's coaches out there that work differently, and that's cool too. Like I really love that there's so many different methods. And kind of have to find what works for you. What cracks you open?
And I love that you also, at Level Up, that you guys teach a genre like course because, looking at the span of your career, Kim, it's so impressive how much range you have. You've worked really in so many different genres. Is this something that you were intentional about with your team in terms of making sure you don't get locked into one genre? Is there a business approach to how you've developed your career in the different sort of streams that you've worked in?
I mean, yes, there's been some periods where I've had to really look at what I wanted to do, and like back off on certain things. Like for a while there, I was doing a lot of TV movies, like rom-coms. I cut my leading lady teeth doing those MOWs, and they're super fun and they're great. But I got to a place where I was getting offers and going from one TV movie to the next, to the next, to the next. And then there was no time to audition, to even be considered for other things. Like I really wanted to get into, like, I love the supernatural. I love, true crime. I love dramas. I love, you know, so there were like a lot of things that I wanted to do that I couldn't do because I was going from one MOW to the next. And so I got to a point where I was like, okay, if you think in terms of like manifestation, you got to make room for what you want in life. And I had read a book, I forget which one, but it was basically like, if you want a relationship, sleep on one side of the bed, clear out half your closet, like physically make room for the partner that you want. And I remember thinking, like, I love that. I was genius. It's genius. I love that. But it gets you in a place of like, not just the idea of it, like, oh, I want a boyfriend. It gets you into the feeling of things. Like, I get really giddy when I make for the things that I want in my life, or like I'm working on a vision board. I haven't done a bit, guys. I haven't done a vision board since like my mid-20s.
I just made one.
It's so great
In
though.
Canva. I did it on Canva.
I love it. But then I could feel myself getting really excited at the possibility of all these things. The giddiness is what we're after, like that feeling. So it's not just an idea, like, oh, I want this. Like an idea is it's so out there, but getting into a feeling of thing. So at the time, with that in mind, I was like, okay, I got to make room in my life for those opportunities. So I told my agent, I was like, we're done. We're done. Don't tell me if an offer comes in. I don't want to know. I don't want to be tempted. Because, as a Canadian actor, I mean, I think as an actor, there are some, really hard times, like financially hard times, or just, a bit of a drought where things, less auditions, less work. So I just didn't want to be tempted. So she really worked with me. I have an amazing agent, Amanda Rosenthal, and she really helped me. And she was like my protector, because when I got scared, because I didn't work after that, I didn't work for a year. When I got scared, I was like, Amanda, is there anything, like, put me back out for the, she's like, Kim, I'm going to remind you what you said. So she was like my protector of this vision that I had for myself. But I also went from being a leading lady to playing smaller parts, but they were interesting little parts. Like I did a guest star on Titans, where I played this like British assassin for hire with like bleached blonde hair. And I was like, I've never done anything like that. And then that led to me, girls, don't bleach your hair for anything. They can wig you. They can wig you. But my hair fell out, and I had a bit of a Britney moment where I was going to like buzz it all off. And my husband was like, go see a professional. And so I did. And we were able to salvage a little bit. So I ended up with a pixie cut.
But that was a cool cut. That was a cool cut, Kim. It seemed intentional.
Yeah, I am so glad everyone thought it was intentional. It was not. I mean, it was not. I owned it, and then I went through like shades. I had like my Tinkerbell look, so like short reds. Julia Roberts when she played Tinkerbell. I had that look, and then I had my Ruby Rose, like dark, longer at the top, shorter, like really short on the side, and then I had my sort of like very streaky, like with highlights, mushroom cut. I like Charlize Theron in Fast and Furious. Yeah, I love that. So I tried a bunch of looks, and then I got to audition for like the coolest parts, things I had never gone out for. And I was like, I was working out my muscles in a way that I had never in the past, because like if you have long curly red hair, you look a certain way. It's easy to be pigeonholed as like romantic lead, right? All of a sudden I had this like weird edgy haircut, and I was auditioning for some really cool parts. And then Trader came to me, and I was trying to grow out the hair, but it was like the worst. It was not a good look. But it worked for the part. It was like a really cool, edgy character. And I really think that like the timing of it, and then what I got to do, I think it was, yeah, it was they made room for it. So I really believe if you're feeling stuck or pigeonholed, I think you can change that by reflecting on the way you present yourself, the way you look, or and yeah, have a conversation with your agent. I think there's no shame in having a vision for yourself and asking for it and to be supported.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned Trader, so I'm gonna go there because I mean, it's such a good story how you got the part, and then also like the filming of that, of course. But for the audience, so Trader was a single room, single actor psychological thriller. You're playing basically a con woman, which, by the way, Kim was nominated for Best Lead Performance, an actor nomination for that. And it was so amazing because it's you on screen the entire time. You're kind of playing different characters as well as you're like trying to con people on the other end of the line. So talk a little bit about how Trader sort of came about and then your experience filming that.
Yeah. Well, so a friend sent me, a producer friend of mine sent me the script. And he was like, I think it'd be really great for this. And I was like, yeah. Like, what are the chances? And then I read the script and I'm like, whoa, like, what a calling card. And I was looking for that, right? It's like, this is an opportunity to like redefine myself as an actor. And so I had a meeting with our director, Corey Stanton, and he liked me, but I got a sense that he wasn't convinced. And, I have a great resume, but my real, like, it just didn't, he couldn't see it. Like, and I don't blame him. I don't think my real is like the work that I book, but it's not a reflection of what I can do in my actual range. I find self-tape auditions. I hold on to I can circle back to this, but I hold on to all of my tapes because that's the real showcase, what you can do at home with tapes. But after the meeting, I felt like I was like, I'm not gonna get this. So I went home and I hadn't read the script, so I knew the character's journey. And I looked at all my tapes and I basically pulled moments from all of my tapes and created and replicated the arc of the character. So it's like, she's really unhinged, she's physical, she's manipulative, she's seductive, she's violent, she's all of these things, right? And I created a 10-minute showcase with all of my self tapes, like nothing from work that I've done before. I think maybe I used one thing from like V Wars to show, I don't know what it was, but it was mostly tapes. And I sent it to him and I was like, this is what I can do. And this is how I see the arc of the character. And that's what's sold him on me. Like he was like, wow, okay, fantastic. And I got the parts. And it was a 12-day shoot in the basement of a barber shop. Very small crew. It's only me. And luckily, like our amazing cast of actors who lent their voices to our movie, Corey and I had talked about the importance of having them there with me because I didn't want to spend, a third of the movie like talking to myself on a phone. I was like, I need to be in connection. And I don't care if they don't have to be in the scene with me, but they have to be like live. So the actors would come in and we would rehearse. We would talk about our ideas, what we wanted to do. And then when it was time to shoot, they were live. So there was a live feed with a speaker downstairs in the basement so that Corey could give a note that we could both take, because oftentimes those phone conversations, like one actor shoots their side, and 2 weeks later, the other actor, and you don't even know what they've done. It's kind of like well, let's hope for the best. But I'm like, I can't, not for this, not for this. And it worked great. I thought it was great. It's a weird little film. It feels like a trip. Like it feels like an LSD trip or something. Yeah. Yeah. It's
You
wild.
also you did I mean, you had the script for not a long period of time, but you were able to envision this arc for your character to the point that you could go back into your repertoire of, like, thousands of self-tapes,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
be like, "These are the moments I'm gonna fish out and, cut down into 10 minutes, and send it
So
over."
weird. Like I don't know about you guys, but when I do a tape, I live that character. It stays with me. So I can sometimes like I forget the name of the project or the role, but I don't forget the feeling. So if I knew I wanted to like a loss of control. Like I knew there was a tape that I did a few years back. I remember the visual and that the character out of whatever their name is, what it was, or like I lost control. And so that's what I would go back to the year I thought and just go through the tape. Oh, that's the one. So you know, when I do my tapes, I give so much of myself, it lives with me. And even like there's certain tapes that there's certain roles that stay with me for months, weeks, like it's in you. Especially if you like I like to personalize it to a point where it belongs to me. So yeah, but I save things like I have a hard drive so it's per year. So I know it's like 2020, 2023, 2024, 2025. And I also do a thing on Instagram. I did it a few years back and people really liked it. It was like all the roles I didn't book. Because we know we often celebrate the roles that we got. And I'm like, I want to celebrate the roles I didn't book because I did my job. I showed up. I looked great. I want to celebrate that. And I also want to normalize not getting the part because I'd say 90% of the time we don't.
And again, that's our job, and we work really hard all year, hundreds of self-tapes a year, and most of it never, ever gets talked about, seen, or anything, so yeah, it's a celebration of your work.
Yeah, and I love the idea of I really wish that we could like a demo reel could consist of our best performances even for auditions because, sometimes a demo reel of your booked work, like if you're not, great if you have leading roles, but if you have smaller bit parts, like it's harder to get a full sense sometimes of what an actor can do
Oh my God.
based on just what they've booked. Like I'm obviously capable of so much more than what I've booked, right? So I love that idea. And, I remember when I was looking for a new agent, I did something similar where I would send just a couple of my audition tapes so that the agent would get an idea of like, these are the tapes I'm doing. This is how my tapes would look. This is what I would send in.
And for
Him
any
prepare-
actors, for any actor listening, it's a fair assumption, like when you're submitting to an agent, that the agent will ask you to put yourself on tape. So you can, you know, you can anticipate that and send in your favorite contrasting tapes. So like let's say a dramatic tape and then a comedic tape, because otherwise they're going to be like they're going to choose the materials. I rather be, in control of what's being put out there. So when you're submitting to a new agent and yeah, send your reel, but also like send two tapes. And what it says too, it's like this is the quality of my work when I tape. This is how consistent I am. This is how professional it is. So they know what to expect once they sign you and work with you. But I do want to speak to that because I think in the States, I always feel like Canada is a few steps behind. But my manager in the States uses this platform called Active Pitch, where you can upload clips, right? But you can upload, you kind of have to pay. There's like different memberships, but let's say you have 30 minutes. You pay for 30 minutes. So you can upload individual clips of all of your work and you can upload self-tapes. And so I have the the work that I've done, and clips that wouldn't necessarily make my demo, but is good to have. And then I have some book tapes I have up there. Like I have some like yeah, some self tapes. And so when she gets an audition, when she's pitching me for an audition for a role, she goes and curates what she wants to what she wants to present to casting. So she'll be like, let's say it's for a comedic role, and she'll be like, okay, so I'll do that clip, this clip, and that self tape, and then she packages the platform allows you to package that and send that to casting. And I think it's freaking genius because I have 40, probably an hour of footage. It really shows my range. And yeah, so it's not like a 3 minute or 4 minute demo that they may or may not look at, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's specific to the project. So actually casting workbook, I think you can do that. I just think a lot of actors don't. Like there is like videos and then you can do clips. Like I've only done like the stuff that I booked, but I think you can like if there are self tapes that you love, you could add it there and they
Yeah.
just label it.
My only thing is like, I don't know. I don't know if casting looks at that stuff. I don't know. I don't know. But in the States, it seems to be like with the norm to be to so we don't do demos. They just do individual clips that they I think it's genius. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because then you can really cater it. And if you're someone who's booked a lot of drama, like you got to show that you can do comedy. So if you've done some comedy auditions, use those as your clips. That's your perfect showcase.
Yeah, and for demos, like if you're auditioning for a comedy and your demo has primarily more drama, but there's one like it's harder, it's a harder sell because then the director, the producer needs to watch you do
Yeah.
drama to then get to that one little comedic. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
Clips are the way to go. Nobody has time anymore.
No, nobody does. And then these sizzle reels that some people are like, "Oh, okay, we'll just cram everything in, but only make them like 3 seconds." Nobody's seeing you. Nobody's getting
yeah. The
anything
sizzle
from
reels,
that
I have to say,
second.
the
Yeah.
the sizzle reels are good if you're trying to showcase like versatility and range, like or just like different looks. This is quickly boom, boom, boom. But again, I think it's a preference thing. I think some casting directors might like that. Some people might not.
Right.
It's hard to please everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So follow your own creative passion there. Whatever sparks you and is something you want to put forward, do that, I'd say.
Yeah. But your social media is a great platform to showcase your range. Like, why not post things that you've been in on so that, casting's online. Their assistants are online. They're always looking for new talent or looking you up or yeah.
Yeah, and you get to cast yourself. So when you see that perfect series, that role that you love, and you're like, "Oh my god, if this was casting today, how much would I love to be auditioning for this part?" Like, just do it. It's all fair game.
So speaking of time, and no one has time, and since our podcast focuses on women who are pursuing their passions while also juggling life's responsibilities, Kim, I know you wear so many hats. At one point you're flipping properties with your husband, you have a coaching business, you're acting, you produce, you've also recently had a baby.
Yeah.
How has becoming a mother changed things for you? How has it impacted your work and even the way you work now?
Well, I have to work efficiently because I don't have time. It's amazing. Like I look back and I'm like, wow, I used to have so much time to prep and now I can't. I don't I so learning lines has just it's no longer an option. So I don't learn lines anymore. But what I do is like I make a bunch of choices and I do my tapes at home in the short window where my son is napping. And, I have some close friends that are, we have an agreement where we help each other out with tapes, but it's about working efficiently because I can't compromise anymore because I want to in my life for my son. And it's also made me think about if I'm going to be on set away from my family, it has to fill my cup. And so it's got to be worth it. And so having a kid really, you gain a whole new perspective. Like time is valuable. Time. And I used to like mentor a lot and coach a lot and even coach for free. And now I have to be very mindful of like when I coach and for how long and mentorship. And so my sort of solo coaching, I've sort of I closed my website and so I only do it for a very few sort of regular clients that I've worked with for years. But and then I focus on level up with Michaela. But yeah, time is valuable but it's also made me really hungry for what I do want. Because I grew up with a mother who was very career driven and she was away a lot for work, but she was also fulfilled. But then when she came home, she was like 100% a mom to us and so present. And I was like, I love that. I love that she was able to pursue her dreams and be a mom and raise us to be good kids. And so not so I want because I hope my son can see me do both seamlessly. Like when I'm at work, I'm hustling and I put in the work. And then when I'm home, I could just switch it off and be with him because you can have it all. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't do both. And it's hard. It's hard. I went back to auditioning 4 days postpartum. And I know it sounds crazy, but one, actors don't get a maternity leave. Like no one's paying me to take time off. And the pregnancy, I took a lot of time off, like leading up. Like the industry was not designed for for pregnant women. And even though I did work during my pregnancy, it was really difficult. And so, once I had my son, I was like, my body is mine again. And I'm excited to get back on the saddle. And it takes time. Like, it took me 6 months of auditioning to book my first job postpartum. And I knew that. And that's why I was eager to get back. And it was crazy. And I was high on hormones. But it's also acting for me is self-expression. It's how I channel my energy and channel my emotions and process and make sense of things. So I needed that. So you kind of have to check in with yourself and do what's right for you. I had a conversation with a friend recently and she's just had her second child and she was like, second time around felt very different, where it's like, I wanted to take time off. And I was like, that's great. And that's beautiful. But always check in with yourself and tune out the noise, like whatever is happening, people's opinions is that just turn it off. Just turn
I
it
love
off.
what you said about how your mom was an example for you growing up. It made me emotional,
It
honestly.
totally made me emotional too because we wonder. We don't know. Like I mean, my mother was she was the worker, but she didn't do anything she liked. Right? I mean, maybe like later on, but I think we have this vision of work being something you don't like.
Yeah.
You hate. You only do it because you must. And then you're grumpy all day. And then when you get home, you need to relax. And, your children need to like give you space to, decompress before you can do whatever. And I think that this is so hard to grasp for a lot of people. So you having that role model and because sometimes we wonder if our kids will understand, but you do understand. And it was a positive thing for you. And that's
Absolutely.
but it's like, and then now like your tradition is carrying on. And I think that just gives a lot of us other moms who maybe didn't have that type of example, who are trying to pursue it to be like, you know what? It's okay. Like our kids are going to get it.
For
I
me,
think you
like
can
it's a guilt thing. It's a guilt thing. Like you feel guilty. Like I often feel guilty because I'm busy pursuing. Like all weekend, I was editing. I was learning lines for a class, and then I was also learning lines for an audition. And I was, and every time I would do check-ins with my kids, I'm always like, are you guys okay? Like, do you need something? What can I feel like I'm abandoning you. You feel this like, it's like a guilt. So when you said, I'm getting emotional again. But when you said about like, I hope, you can only hope as a parent that you're setting an example of someone who's like chasing, uh, I'm doing a job that I enjoy. I'm doing a job that I love. And I think it allows me to also show up for my kids in a positive way. When I have, like, when I put the pages aside and said, okay, let's cuddle up and hang out for an hour or whatever, then they know that, they're loved. And I certainly give them a lot of my time too. It's not like they're like on their own. I just love that, Kim. It sounds like your mom was such a great role model.
I love my mom is freaking badass.
Mhm.
But It's the gift of dreaming. Like,
Mhm.
it's seeing a parent chase their dream gives permission to the child to chase their dream as well. And my dream was with me since I was a little girl. It
Mhm.
got me out. Like, I don't know, being from a small town, my life could have looked very differently. And
Mhm.
so the gift of dream and the gift of possibility. And I think as kids now, it's like you want to live in a world where you feel like you could do it all and do whatever it is that you want. And like you said, it's like, I don't feel like I work a day in my life because I love my job. I play.
Mhm.
So when I'm out, and listen, the guilt is there. Like, I cry every time I leave work. I leave for work, I cry. But it's also like, well, if I'm gonna leave and go to work, I might as well enjoy myself so that when I'm not at work, I can turn it off and be fully present with my kids.
Mhm.
So, I'm always thinking in terms of that, same thing with like travel. Like, I hope to bring my son along because I want him to see the world, and yeah, mommy gets to travel for work and you get to see the world. And well, this is the school of life. I have so many friends who pull their kids out of school and they go on a 6-month trip, because that's how you learn. I basically lived under a rock for till I was 17. I hadn't experienced anything until I was 17. So, but yeah, we can, dream, be happy, be fulfilled because that's what we give to our kids.
Because otherwise there is resentment that you harbor,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we know, we get it, right? Like if and I mean, and it's even just from our parents, right?
Mhm.
Because they're trying to give us a better life and they're taking jobs that they don't want, or they're doing stuff that they doesn't fulfill them, but they have to do it because they're trying to give us piano lessons or whatever. I did have one other question for you, for our audience members who are actors and are thinking about having children and are at sort of this point in their career. Maybe you had quite a career before you had a child. Did that weigh on your mind? Like timing, like, is this the right time? Should I have a baby? How is this going to affect my work? Did that weigh on you at all?
Yeah. So I'm 36 and I've been seriously considering having children since I was 28. And my partner, we've been together forever, on and off, but forever. And when I was 28, I remember not pursuing it because I was like, it's like not the right time. Like, I need to get that series regular. I need to get like financial stability. It's just not the right time. Like, I'm not ready yet. Like, I was ready, but timing wise, I was waiting for the right time. There is no right time. And even now at 36, like, if we were to consider having a second one, I'm like, there's no right time. You kind of have to like throw yourself in, and the industry will be there when you get back. Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately you need to sit with yourself and say like, what matters most to me. Yeah, you kind of have to. There is no right time. Like, don't, and there's no level of financial security that you'll never be in a position where you're like, yes, no, yeah. Because
Right.
ultimately, as humans, like, we don't want to be left behind, right? And taking that time to have a child, it kind of triggers those fears of like, um, if the momentum slows down, or having to turn work down, or having to, fall off castings radar, or all that stuff. And it's like, I'm sure some of it is true to a certain extent, but it's nothing that you can't get back. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. It's like, I feel like I'm back, but it's a bit slow audition wise, and I gotta
Mhm.
stay sharp. So I'm coaching a lot, and I'm taking like dialect classes for fun. But it's like, I'm not gonna quit. You just gotta keep pushing through. Yeah. I mean, being a parent is fantastic. So
It is, and I feel like it does sort of crack you open. Like I feel like emotions, like, and I learned so much from being a parent. I learned so much from my kids. Like honestly, every day I'm learning something new.
About myself.
Yeah.
Like, how ridiculous.
Yes.
Or how much I
Such a
see
mirror.
myself.
Yeah, and you see how much of yourself in your kids too sometimes, and then they'll like, or they're honest, right? Kids, they're honest. They'll call you out, and you'll be like, "Yeah, shit, you're right." Like,
I
and then
can't
to
wait
be
for that.
honest with yourself. You're like, I did not want to admit that, but it's true. Okay, I just have two more, and then we'll wrap this up. Kim, do you have any advice for actors who are struggling right now? or any advice that you've ever received from a mentor that really stuck with you?
Well, there is a quote that I'm probably going to butcher. So, luck is opportunity meets preparedness. I think you can cross the luck out and put success equals opportunity meets preparedness. And I think opportunity is something that's out of our control. However, you can, as an actor, you can start writing your own stuff, producing your own stuff, directing your own stuff, and then preparedness. And I think as actors, where we have control is our level of preparedness. And that could be, you know, being physically fit, being mentally fit, taking classes, staying sharp, networking, taking a lesson, like learning new skills. That's sort of that's our job really as actors. It's like we need to be like sponges, just soak it all up. And so that was a quote that really resonated with me when I was like in theater school. And I was like, oh yeah, opportunity is kind of like sometimes out of my control. But what I do have control over is how ready I am so that when I do catch my big break, I am good to go. Um, Advice. I once had a director on set. The scene wasn't working for many reasons, but I was getting so upset that it wasn't working. I was beating myself up and shutting down. And he came to me and he whispered, he's like, this scene isn't about you. And I was like, oh, I don't know if he meant it as like my character, like this scene isn't about your character, or this scene isn't about you, Kim, like take the ego out of it. But I remember it took so much of the pressure off and I just kind of like surrendered. Like what resist persists. And I think just trusting, taking a step back, breathing, not taking things so personally does wonders. So yeah, I think sometimes in the audition process, like we can get really hard on ourselves. Why aren't I booking? Like, am I not good enough? And am I not pretty enough? Am I old, too young, too tall, too short, too whatever? It's hard to detach because it can feel so personal. Just remember, this isn't about you. So focus on the work, be prepared, take ownership, put work out that you feel confident with, that you can stand by. And it's a weeding out process. You just gotta stick around. Don't let anyone kill your vibe.
Yeah, I love that. So true. Don't kill my vibe.
Don't kill my vibe. You're killing my vibe. Yeah.
Don't give up either. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
I like that.
Is there something about what the industry is like, whether it be like involving with ACTRA, with Canada, with like the state of our industry right now that is killing your vibe a little?
Oh, we talked about it last time, and I'm going to bring it up because it's very unclear out there. So if there's an actress here listening who is expecting, here's some information that I found out through word of mouth because online there wasn't enough. So with AFBS, our insurance through ACTRA, if you have a vaginal birth with a second degree, third or fourth degree tear with sutures, stitches, you can apply for disability, postpartum disability through AFBS, and you can get, they call it 6 weeks disability. It's actually 5 because there's like a processing week that they don't. So it's 5 weeks. The number is based on how much you made the previous year. It's like a percentage. So if you are expecting, you can reach out to AFBS and ask what that looks like. And you have 90 days to apply retroactively. If you pass the 90 days, you cannot get that money, that disability. And then if you have a C-section, then you can get 8 weeks, technically 7. But a lot of my friends didn't know. It's a friend of mine who told me about it because if you go on the AFBS website and you search like parental benefits, there's one thing that pops up. It's called the new parental benefit, and it's a $350 reimbursement for a high ticket item like a stroller. So you have to submit the receipt and your child's birth certificate to get that reimbursement, and that's it. Can't the other info, sort of postpartum disability, isn't really there. Apparently there's a link, but I've looked and I haven't found it. So just know, women, that if you have insurance with the FBS, like you can get that. And just shoot them an email. I believe it's James at AFBS. I forget his last name, but he can help you with that. And yeah, you have 90 days. And sadly, a friend of mine found out through me that he had a C-section. She could have disability, and she was too late. She had passed the 90 days and she couldn't get it. And it's really frustrating because as artists and as women, there's very little support. So that's a big one to know. And if, for example, you have some debilitating. Thank you very much. I went French there for a second. Pain that stops in your pregnancy that is preventing you from working or auditioning, or even like morning sickness that is so debilitating that you can also apply for disability. We don't talk about these things, so people don't know. So
No.
I'm all for just being transparent.
There should be a committee. There should be a new parent committee.
But I think there is. I think, well, that's not true. Sorry. So my friend, no. What? Sorry.
Well, they should have told you. They should have told us.
So my friend who,
In a good place for us.
my friend who couldn't get this disability because she didn't know about it, started in Montreal, Actra Montreal. They started parental.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
I saw something about this, which is, I guess, a step in the right direction. But it just feels like, yeah, there's not a lot of visible resources. It's not easily accessible.
It's always a fight.
Yeah.
Like,
And same thing with like childcare, because that's what I'm navigating right now. It's like and we're taking it like one project at a time. But what does it look like? Like my son isn't in daycare yet because we're on a million lists and it takes forever. But like when I get a job, like I did a movie back in January, and luckily, so we were shooting in North Bay. I flew in my mom, and she was like my on set. She wasn't on set with me, but she was my nanny. But that's because my mom is retired and she was happy to be there for me. But I had to ask for a bigger place. I had to ask for a place with a bathtub and laundry. And so that was for a 3-week shoot. But like, what happens if I book a series? What does that look like? Like, you know, if we, back in the day, I remember going to like in-person auditions and seeing actresses bring their kids and leaving their kids in the waiting room with toys, with a stranger or with a friend. They bring a friend, or so I'm navigating that.
yeah, they tried to do this thing where it was like ACTRA, there was like childcare for like auditions for like $20 or something like that. I mean, I didn't have to use it. I think that was just before COVID hit, and then everything went self-tape. But I don't really know how that would work. So like, I don't know if it's just other actors like subbing in for other actors, but I'm like, I don't know who you are. Like, I'm just supposed to leave my kid
Yeah.
with you.
It's so vulnerable. Yeah. Like if it, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like a gym should have like a drop in for kid. Like if you need to work out as a new mom, you just drop.
When I had my kids, they did at Good Life. There were
Oh, they did.
yes, but then after COVID, they shut us down. I was like, what if I had a new baby? During COVID, a lot of people had babies.
Let's wrap this up with our final question that we ask every one of our guests. Kim, when you hear the phrase hitting her mark, what does that mean for you? How do you define success in your life, personally, professionally?
Well, I think I remember. I think it was so hitting your mark, technically, as an actor on set, is you've got your little mark and you got to hit it. The mark doesn't move. You have to, So for me, hitting my mark in my career, in my life, is that I want that. I want to keep moving that mark. I want to push it moving forward. So as an actor and artist, I also I want to grow. I wanna always be chasing something bigger than me. And so I hope to always be moving my mark. So I never quite hit it. So as much as I want to hit my mark on sets in my life, I hope to constantly be moving my mark forward. Somewhere just in front of me.
Thank you. And listen, we didn't even get into Die Alone, which was a movie you did with Carrie Ann Moss, which is on Prime right now. You can rent it on
Crave.
Prime.
Is it on?
Crave.
Yeah, it's on
I think
Crave.
it's on Prime too. I think I watched it on Prime.
Who know? I don't know these things.
And then also you do a lot of mocap. Like we didn't even talk about your motion capture work, but you've been nominated for awards
Her award for the Guardians
Yes,
of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Guardians of the
much
Galaxy.
fun.
So if this is all things that you can check out for Kim. Thank you so much for being our guest, Kim.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, your Instagram handles quickly or any.
Yes,
handles?
my Instagram is Kesu Murray.
Well, I just love Kim. I think she's just so like down to earth and she's just a great person. But I love how she got that trader's role. That really stuck out for me. I love how
yes.
she compiled all her self-tapes and created a story arc of all the colors that she knew she would need to pull to play that role and submitted that to the director. And that is essentially like it sold the director on wanting to work with her.
Right, because her demo reel was probably a lot of MOWs because that was her main thing, which is great, but it's one genre and Traders was more than that, right? And we didn't get into it this time, but she did talk about how she landed her agent in the States, or her manager in the States, and she used a similar technique. Or this manager was kind of like, "I don't know," and she was like, "Let me send you something." And she did another little showcase, and they were so excited about it. They came back, asked for more because I think she said that the first one was more dramatic. So they wanted a comedy version and she was able to supply it, and then they signed her.
Yeah. So it just goes to show it's like let the work speak for itself. You know, you can sell yourself till the cows come home, but like you at the end of the day, like your work will speak for itself. And if you're doing good work, you know, it will get you in the doors that you need to get into. But also that took a little bit of, you know, like courage. It took a little bit of tenacity to put herself forward that way.
Yes. And just trusting herself because she was like, I know I got this. I know that I have the proof to do it. And she was able to dig it all up, right? And that speaks to the dedication that she has to her self tapes and to all of her auditions. Because I don't know. There's some auditions where I don't know what I just did. I don't remember this.
So another thing where she shows a lot of great tenacity, I thought, was the decision to not pigeonhole herself into one genre. So when she decided to have that conversation with her agent to say, like, I want more for myself. I want to be doing different kinds of roles. So I'm willing to say no. I'm willing to turn some stuff down for and almost for like a year of, you know, not working where but she had to stick to that. And it was her agent who reinforced it to her and being like, you know what? Remember what you told me? Like, we have a vision here. So let's stick to it. That takes like a lot of confidence. And, you know, I don't know if I could do that. I honestly don't know if I could do that. That would be really hard.
To say for a while that I was going to say no to certain things. And when things come up and I'm like, what else do I have going on? I guess let's do this. I need to exercise. But yeah, like very famously, Matthew McConaughey did a similar thing, obviously on a much bigger scale. But he also almost caved. And it was his wife who was like, remember what you said. And you need that, I think, in your corner.
Yeah, you have to have faith in the vision. You have to have faith that it's going to happen. And we have chosen a career where there's like you have to have a lot of faith because you don't know when you're going to work next. You don't
Right.
know when the next gig is coming. So,
And I think the most important
yeah,
thing is that we stay busy with other things. That's what keeps you going and creating other things that you're passionate about, that you're curious about, right? Because I mean, it doesn't mean like if you start doing it. I mean, how many scripts have I started and didn't finish?
um,
But it's like it kept me really busy for a low, and then I got busy again. So then that goes to the back burner. Hey, I have lots of ideas. Writers approach me. I have lots of ideas. I swear they're good.
for our listener, this is a recurring theme where Ginny and I you'll hear this in other episode recaps where Ginny and I discuss why we need a writer to write all of our good ideas.
Oliver, really great ideas.
So if anyone wants to write all our good ideas,
Yes, in proper format. Just reach out. Just DM us.
on that note, Ginny, I think we should end it there
Yes.
with our desperate call for writers.
Right. But another question, and
Yes.
maybe we'll use this sometime and maybe we won't. I'm going to park it anyway because Kim had talked about she was exploring like maybe different avenues, different things that she might do, and she thought photography, becoming a photographer, that she would go back to school for. Is there something else that you have ever considered doing or would consider as a career, as another?
Me? Oh God. I mean, it's too late now. You know what? I have done another career. I took a huge hiatus in this industry and I don't.
Was that something that you actually liked? No, that was a job.
That was a job.
Yeah.
Another career, I honestly don't know. I think that's part of why I don't leave out where to begin or what to do else than this, because I've been put so many eggs into this basket at this point that I'm like, I can't quit. How am I gonna quit now? You know how much I have invested in this business.
Yes.
At this point, it doesn't make sense for me to just even consider another career unless I have no choice and I never work. Then yes, I might have to consider it. I mean, I don't do this for the money. This is like, this is something I enjoy doing, but I don't know. I can't think of, and honestly, I can't. I'm sorry, that was a very long, windy answer. What about you, Ginny? What would you do?
I still feel like maybe I might do it, but it is so hard. Becoming a vet, I just made me like Dr. Wong for animals.
I feel like that's like you need a show.
Yes, I mean, it would definitely become like a reality series.
Can you mix the two worlds?
But like, I remember, I think being a vet was actually my very first thing that I wanted to be. And the reason why I didn't do it was because my sister informed me that I'd have to stick my fingers up animals' butts. Like literally. And when you're, I don't know, like, see you, when you're like five, that was like the most horrific thing. Like, I'm fingers in anybody's butt. And then I was like, well, that's it. That's it.
I think we just lead with that clip. That'll be our first teaser clip on Instagram. Ginny saying, I don't want to stick my finger.
Oh my God. I was on set with this super funny actor, and she, you know how you do your little vocal warm-ups? And the tongue, the lips, no, the teeth, what is it?
What is that tip of the tongue? I don't know.
The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue,
tip of the
lips,
tongue.
the tongue. And we were just like, oh yeah, haha, like all these things. And she goes, yes, like the lips, the teeth, the dick and the bum. Not expecting you to do it. Shout out to Carrie, who is on True Justice too with us. You worked with her too. Actually, just like a hilarious, unsuspectingly hilarious lady.
Yes, that's very funny. I love that. I'm sure she'll love this being on her podcast as well for others to listen to. I'll decide later if I keep this in or out.
She might be a guest one day and we'll bring it up.
Yes, I love it.
Yes.
Okay, well, that was another great episode. So many good tidbits there. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much.